Welcome to the Returning Raven, Clarity Points for Truth, where we look closer at the yoga you don't know, the one with hidden forms, worldview, sorcery, and philosophy that clouds and deceptively influences culture, church, family, and you. I'm Dr. Alana Arguello. It's time to leave the fog, get out of the gray, and into the light. Join me today at the Clarity Point. Hello, welcome to the Returning Raven, Clarity Points for Truth. I'm your host, Dr. Alana Arguello. Today, we are looking closer at posture, or chapter 16, titled Superwomen, from my book, Unearthing Yoga's Ancient Roots, Exposing Sorcery and Its Transcultural Reach, available on Amazon. We live in a culture today that is desperate in search of meaning, but often, as discussed in this show, words either get redefined for the individual so it can mean what they want it to mean for them, or even if they grab the basic definition, a simple word or phrase of the definition gets interpreted to mean, again, what a person wants it to mean for them. And even the interpretation can change by the desires and whims of the one that's redefining it. You may hear people ask, what does that mean to you? Or someone will respond in a discussion, well, that term means this to me. There's nothing wrong with clarifying meaning to improve communication. But our culture goes beyond that, doesn't it? Instead of the meaning of words being not just a definition, but also attached to its root and historical context, we instead tend to take words and basic definitions and filter it through experience or emotion, feelings and desires, or cultural influence, rather than calling it what it is. You may even notice how some today use words and you may think, that's not what that means. I think they were using the word wrong to describe themselves or the situation. But the person using the word incorrectly may not even realize it or care because they learned the word through some visual meme repeated on social media. So it isn't just, no, the word means that to me. It becomes, no, that's what it means. That's what everybody thinks it means. Didn't you see that post online? I'll share it with you. Before you know it, words become interpreted by the collective whole, or at least what is dominated in culture, usually today through social media. And the meaning of the words may be so far from their actual meaning and void of historical context. Some of you listening may remember when studying spelling and language, you looked at roots, like Latin, even learned how the word adjusted or adapted over time. Even cultural slang may be appropriated to the word by various groups at different times. But we didn't just take words, isolate them, deconstruct them from their original language and history, and then just call it what we wanted. We didn't just take a random word or numbers that have no meaning, and we certainly didn't see individuals and large groups of young people getting imprinted by the randomness to have expressive emotional reactions collectively based off, well, nothing. I'm not saying words don't adapt, but uprooting words from language, history, and meaning that's based in reality and that can't be swayed by subjectivity and influence is dangerous. In fact, it is a sure sign that a culture is so impressionable that they can, en masse, get manipulated. It's actually a sign that the culture has succumbed to cult mentality. My point, words matter. And words are tied to a language and its history, as well as history itself. So with that, let's look closer at yoga's cultural, historical, and root language meaning. How has the term yoga been applied in the cultures historically that have it as part of their worldview, philosophy, spiritual practices, and worship, and their end goal for their view of salvation? I'll list yoga for you as how it's been found, understood, and applied in history in Hindu text. Here you go. A device. If you don't know, device is something made and adapted to be used for a purpose, to achieve something. It can be a plan, method, or trick with a certain aim. Yoga has meant a method or strategy, so not something random, haphazard, or individualized, something with design, formula, and targeted ends. It also has meant a charm, an incantation. Yoga has also meant fraud, a trick, union, zeal, which if you don't know, zeal describes energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of a cause, an objective. So great passion toward a purposed, intentional goal. Yoga has meant industriousness, industry. You may know yoga is a very successful industry today. Industriousness is requiring of clever skill along with diligence, hard work to achieve a goal. Yoga has meant discipline, contact, meaning with the divine, yoking an animal, the yoke itself. Remember the chariots. You can go back and see the look closer episode on the I Ams, chariots of the gods. The work of alchemists. These are people that transform things through magic practices. Yoga has meant and applied to those who learned techniques to take control of other people's bodies or merge with someone else's consciousness, to initiate the opening process for superhuman female predators called yoginis, to eat you, to consume your sins, so you can obtain salvation by union with Shiva. And finally, yoga has also meant a path away. Again, as you continue to see on The Returning Raven, yoga reveals the same theme and context just based off its meaning. It has consistently been applied to mean various forms of witchcraft, with the ability to trick, manipulate, even take over minds and bodies with power to possess you by these predators that take your sin for you so you can be saved and join all God. Hereby again, false gospel. Yoga is a gospel of witchcraft. Let's take a closer look now at these predatory witches, yoginis, that possess you when you practice yoga, to eat you and consume your sins for you so you can be God. Historically, in countries beyond India, yoginis were known as they traversed the regions around India. They were worshipped as gods, even with carved idols made for them. They were reported to have shape-shifted as referenced as hyenas that eat the dead. If you didn't know, hyenas are incredibly intelligent, nocturnal social carnivores that hunt and are in female-dominated groups. In Sanskrit, they were the divine feminine principle. They got special revelation and were believed to have been able to summon down spiritual powers from heaven to earth. Some of you may be aware that an occult saying is as above, so below. The yoga witches were thought to not age and were never sick or injured. They could heal, remove desires, and control other people. They practiced divination in caves, empty temples and mosques, and graveyards. Their practices included breathing exercises. This is pranayama yoga, visualization practices, astral magic, summoning spirits, controlling demons, working with fairies, meditation, kundalini, remember the python, in yoga, chakra manipulations, use of charms and talismans, saying and repeating divine god names or name magic, soothsaying, using one's imagination to create outcomes, psychic divination, prophesying, and omen predictions, mantra repetitions or repeated prayers, and even reference to rituals similar to voodoo. And you know what else they were known for, the predatory witches? What you know today as gym or studio yoga, hatha yoga. Some texts show a surge of popularity from the 16th to 18th centuries in surrounding countries of India, including Persia or modern-day Iran. And some believe they learned their yoga from very ancient yoga studies, as texts about them mention one of the oldest known people groups. One man that found a historical text describing them referred to their supposed yoga science exercise as something that was actually just divination used to commune with Satan, who disguised himself as immortal, spiritual, invisible yoginis that came in different forms, names, and with various functions as the people followed them with strange worship. In other words, the texts about them were used and disguised as science yoga. And people saw yoginis, sometimes in other forms, to fit their desires. But all were really just practicing pagan worship and communing through yoga with Satan himself. Thank you for joining me today on The Returning Raven. I'm your host, Dr. Alana Arguello. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share to get this message out about yoga. I'll see you on the next Clarity Point for Truth. And until then, church, choose this day whom you will serve and get the pagan worship out. Thank you for joining me today on The Returning Raven. I'm Dr. Alana Arguello. For a closer look again at truth, I'll see you at the next Clarity Point.